It's always hilarious to me when this happens. What actually happened? Well, One Piece chapter 970 happened. So if you haven't read that chapter, go read it and come back because we're going to talk about Kaido and the events of that chapter. Off the rip, let you guys know, this is a power scaling video. We're going to try to power scale Kaido a little bit and talk about the backlash that Kaido received based on the events of chapter 970. This happens frequently where people overreact sometimes when things happen in the story. This happened to Big Mom, Luffy, Katakuri, Marco. It's happened to the best of them. If you were reading One Piece back then when Marineford was going on, Akainu, Whitebeard, Aokiji, Jozu, Doflamingo, Crocodile is just a reaction from everything that transpires when a character fights or loses or a major situation happens. In 970, we had Kaido versus Odin. Now, before I give my thoughts on that exact thing, we kind of have to chalk it all up to perception and how people view certain characters. I did a top 30 strongest character stream. This is where I talk about the strongest characters in One Piece at the time. So I did a stream and a video. And in both, Kaido was top 5. I think for most people, Kaido is comfortably top 5 based on the portrayal he has in the series. Now, we haven't seen a lot from Kaido combat-wise. For him, it's been minor things, but it's based off of things other characters have said about him. Before we got introduced to Kaido, Garp told us about the Yonko, and that they are the 4 most powerful pirates on the seas. So from that, you can infer that Kaido is at least top 4, but then you have to factor in Marines and then an outlier in Dragon, so at least top 5. People sometimes try to take away from the Yonko by saying they're the most powerful because they control territories and they have fleets and they have commanders, which is partially true, but the Yonko, based on everything that's been shown so far, are extremely strong and can hold their own against anyone. Granted, in One Piece, we haven't seen any of the Yonko fight in their primes. It's all been hearsay or scuffles or just lore stuff, nothing major. So to scale Kaido, I'm going to talk about some of the other characters a little bit, but the focus of this video is going to be Kaido and should we overreact or did we overrate Kaido? Was everything we learned about Kaido BS? Is Kaido a fraud? This conversation about Kaido may hit you differently based on where you rank him in the first place. There's several moments that people use to kind of rate Kaido, but the main thing that people use is Oda definitively telling you that Kaido is a monster. One Piece chapter 795, an iconic chapter and a chapter I will never forget based on the events of that chapter. It started off as a regular chapter. We transitioned from Dressrosa to Zou, and then we were suddenly in Skypiea or in a sky island, and then we're seeing Aruj. Then the narrator comes in and tells us about a man that was searching for a place to die. It said that he had tasted defeat 7 times and that he had been caught by the Marines or an enemy's ship no less than 18 times. He was tortured and lived, and then he attempted suicide by jumping from a sky island. The narrator wants you to get it so much that he says, to repeat, this is a man who challenged the Marines and 4 emperors and was caught 18 times and endured over 1,000 tortures. He was sentenced to death 40 times. When he was hanged, the rope snapped. When put onto the guillotine, the blade cracked. When skewered, the spear broke. Ultimately, he sank 9 different prison vessels, meaning none of these people were able to kill him. Then we saw Kaido, the king of beasts, fall out of nowhere in front of Kid, Apoo, and Hawkins. And now knowing what happened, in which Apoo, he was always on Kaido's side, Hawkins defected, and Kid fought him with Killer, and they obviously lost. From this portrayal, ultimately you could deduce that Kaido is somebody that is so strong that 1, nobody's able to kill him, and 2, he's trying to kill himself and can't do it based off of power and strength alone. You then get some of his motivations, and it's to create the world's greatest battle. He wants to start the greatest war the world has ever seen. But this isn't the only thing that gives us some characterization for Kaido. We also learn that Kaido actually went to Whitebeard or tried to go to Whitebeard at Marineford. Shanks ultimately stopped him, but he was on his way to Marineford. Now, how that encounter went is anybody's guess. For me, my hypothesis is that Shanks, knowing that Kaido loves liquor and knowing that Shanks took some liquor to Whitebeard, why wouldn't Shanks take liquor to Kaido? And then Shanks showed up at Marineford fairly unscathed. So I deduced that Shanks stopped Kaido by giving him some of the best liquor in the world. And that's what he told Whitebeard, and Whitebeard somehow agreed because he didn't fight Shanks, so he didn't challenge Shanks. Not initially, at least. So I think that's what happened. I don't think Kaido fought Shanks. The point still stands. Kaido is a different type of animal. He called Doflamingo weak. And Dofi is one of the strongest characters we've seen, top 30 at least. He said the Supernova were playing little pirate games. We actually saw Kaido versus Luffy. Now, I'm not going to use the anime here. Going straight from the manga, Luffy was enraged because he thought Kaido destroyed his crew. Luffy did everything he could against Kaido, knocked him out of his dragon form, and then went up against Kaido, and Kaido one-shot Luffy. And this is coming off of Katakuri, where he fought for 11 hours, Future Sight, Arm and Haki, all this different stuff, and Luffy got one shot by Kaido. There's always a conversation about the world's strongest man and the world's strongest creature. I think we have to understand that Whitebeard had the title before Kaido was even on that level. So off of that, I give Whitebeard the edge. Now, Marineford Whitebeard, I don't think he was as strong as Kaido at that point because Whitebeard was old and sick. There was so much going on there. But I think ultimately, in their primes, Whitebeard is stronger than Kaido. That doesn't mean Kaido isn't strong. I think the world's strongest titles, we have to respect them. I believe Mihawk's title. I believe Kaido's title. I believe Whitebeard's title. Whitebeard has proven his shit. And I think to an extent, Kaido has as well. So with all this, why are we having this conversation? Why is Kaido being questioned? Well, that brings us back to 970. In chapter 970, we saw Odin versus Kaido. And in this chapter, it seems like Odin got the best of Kaido. And the only reason why Kaido won was because Momo was used and Odin was distracted and Kaido took advantage of it. First off, that whole notion that that's trash to take advantage of an opportunity is bogus. The story tells us blatantly through the main character that pirates are going to be pirates and that you should not be caught slipping no matter the situation, even if you're teamed up on. Luffy said it in Whole Cake Island when Flampe shot at him and Katakuri used that opportunity to impale him. Katakuri did not know Flampe was involved, however, the point still stands. Luffy said, pirates are pirates, I should be aware of that. Katakuri, being the noble guy that he is, stabbed himself to even the playing field, but regular pirates, that doesn't happen. And I think that's why people are so endearing to Katakuri, because something like that just shows how honorable of a man he was. But a normal pirate will not even the playing field. At the end of the day, the goal was to take him out. So if you get caught because one of my siblings helped, that's none of my concern. I'm trying to take you out. And if we go all the way back to Marineford, the Marines did it with Marco, Whitebeard did it with the Kainu. When you have an opportunity, you take advantage of it, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, if you give this person another chance, you may take an L, like what happened with Katakuri. Luffy at the end of the day walked away and got out of Whole Cake Island. So Katakuri, he lost. For the people that didn't see what happened to them, Luffy walked out of the mirror world, Katakuri was knocked out inside of it. So he lost. We know more than several characters in the story, so we can come to different conclusions, but Katakuri lost because he didn't take advantage of that opportunity. And I think there's so many context clues here. One, Kaido cared a lot about Wano. He just built a mansion for him to occupy. He had his weapons, he had his factories. He had a whole plan for Wano. So for him, taking out Odin was imperative. He even went through a whole thing to trick Odin so they couldn't fight for a while because he didn't have the numbers. So now he had the numbers. He was going to take advantage of it. Now, Odin was a lot stronger than they thought. So even with the numbers Kaido had, it was a tough fight. And Odin got the jump on Kaido. He's the only person to scar Kaido. So when the opportunity came, Kaido took advantage of it. So I'm not mad at Kaido at all. But off of this, people are saying Kaido is not as strong as I thought. Kaido almost lost to Odin, who probably isn't even that strong. Au contraire. People, Oda is going out of his way to tell us that Odin is very strong. Before he left Wano, he's been built up as a very strong character, abnormally strong, just insane strength. Not to the level of Big Mom, but he had strength that could not be explained. So it's almost like Luffy and Big Mom and those guys where he's abnormally strong, so you have to respect it. Now, Oda specifically says Odin, after going on his travels, he fought Whitebeard, he fought Roger, he came back significantly stronger than he was before he left Wano. So if we can infer, and this is how I scale Odin, before leaving Wano, he's right-hand commander level, coming back to Wano, probably close to Yonko level, if not on it, comfortably on Admiral level. Mind you, this is 20 years ago, Kaido. They were probably on the same level back then. It probably wasn't that much separation, and Kaido recognized it because he tried so many things to deter Odin while he built his numbers. So at this point, Odin scarring Kaido, why is that such a big deal? This is 20 years ago. How can we downplay Kaido at all after everything? We have no idea how strong Odin is, you can infer, but Oda going out of his way to hype up Odin like he is, I'm very comfortable putting Odin on Yonko level. And if we use the parallel of Rayleigh and Roger and that crew, with Odin being Whitebeard's right-hand man, I would say Odin could be on Rayleigh's level, and people scale Rayleigh to Yonko level, so why not Odin? Yes, Odin joined Roger's crew at the end of it, but the point of that was just to find the One Piece. It really wasn't to compete with any other crew. They had already separated. Whitebeard didn't want it. If Whitebeard wanted the One Piece, then it's different, because then you have to go up against Whitebeard and Odin with the other guys growing up. You already tied with them back then. If the Whitebeard crew got an opportunity to grow up, I think they would have taken the Roger Pirates. And of course, that's to Odin's credit along with Whitebeard. However, joining Roger's crew is strictly about expedition. Odin, not strength. So the parallel of saying, well, if Odin was on Roger's crew, he can't be stronger than Rayleigh because Rayleigh's the right-hand man. Odin didn't join for that. He joined strictly to find the One Piece. So, in conclusion, judging Kaido off of this thing 20 years ago, I don't think it really makes sense. We have no idea how strong Kaido is. Back then, it's several years removed from rocks because people were saying, well, they said back then they were a lot weaker than they are now. They were talking about the rocks days. It's been several years since the rocks days. Kaido's a different person now. Kaido is establishing himself. Not as strong as he is now, that's 20 years ago, but someone as strong as Odin, as high a portrayal as Odin, getting the jump on Kaido. And again, the fight didn't even finish. Yes, it looked like he was about to win, but stranger things have happened. Why are we doing this to Kaido? Kaido has not moved for me. The only thing that's happened is the grand scheme of things with Kaido, where Oda, he uses these things as portrayal to tell us or to tell a story. And I think it was more so to Odin's credit than to Kaido's detriment. That's what I got from this. Every Yonko has had a moment like this, where it was like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. And in a way, it was almost symbolic with some of them, with Shanks and the Sea King, symbolic for Luffy, with Big Mom and the Vagabond Drill. We know she was going through a weird moment in time and she had her hunger pangs, she was weakened. For Blackbeard, he got destroyed by Magellan, his entire crew. Granted, he was not a Yonko then, but this is pre-Yonko. No one says Blackbeard is weak now because it was in the past. When Luffy becomes Pirate King or becomes a Yonko officially, we can go back and look at Luffy's L's and where Luffy has struggled and the things Luffy has done and say, well, you took an L there, you lost a crocodile, you really lost a Dofi without Law's help. Let's not even start with Katakuri. And we know Kaido one-shot your ass, so would we say Luffy is not as strong as he is in the future? No, we would not. This is much ado about nothing. Kaido is still a Yonko. Kaido is still top 5, if not top 3. The point of the narrative is to tell you Kaido is different. There was something that came out recently, or not recently, but 2 years ago or so, where Oda said he doesn't know how to destroy Kaido. He doesn't know yet how to beat Kaido. For a character like that, you never question his strength. You should give credit to the other person. Now, people are going to jump to conclusions and try to rate Big Mom over him. That's fine. All that shit was in the past. Nothing definitive. To me, that's to Odin's credit. I move Odin up instead of moving Kaido down. But that's just me. You guys can give me your thoughts. What do you think about Kaido? Is he overrated? Did we overrate Kaido? Again, leave your thoughts below. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure to like the video. That helps. Subscribe. That helps even more. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.